Hello and welcome. You are watching Markets Today with me, Lukman Haris. Today, the FBM PLCI closed 3.92 points lower at 1757.21 points, and the ringgit closed at 4.215 against the US dollar. Today, we'll take a look at the important art of investor relation. In today's business climate, sometimes a company's financials may not be the only important thing. Today, the challenging economy has given renewed focus towards the importance of maintaining investor confidence and investor relations. And for that, the field of investor relations has taken on a new significance for Malaysian companies today. The Malaysian Investor Relations Association, or Mira, has been championing investor relations for the past 10 years. This year, Mira celebrates its 7th Investor Relations Awards.
Investor relations is very crucial. At the end of the day, if you are a listed company, it's important that you achieve fair valuations for your stock. That's the whole point of listing in the first place. And to ensure that happens, your communications to the investment public is crucial. We are looking to celebrate and reward, basically acknowledge the best investor relations practitioners and companies in Malaysia.
Nominees will be categorized into 4: micro, small, medium and large cap companies, with awards ranging from Best Investor Relations CEO to Best Investor Relations Website to overall Best Investor Relations Company.
As a listed company, it's very key to make sure that all investors are actually informed about what the company is doing, the progress of the company. This is an area where it's important to ensure that the right information, accurate information is given so that the investors are able to deal with the shares or deal with financial markets of a certain integrity or so.
We need to look at not just the engagement, but in terms of the actual work done in the annual report itself, right? I think disclosure is important. There are various initiatives, different awards also being given recognition to companies that have a good disclosure in their annual report. So we need to make sure that this continues to improve. The industry continues to put importance in this.
It's about engagement. I think it's the one-on-one engagement is something that we aspire to be better at, so that they can get those information that they require about the company. And in the end, it's a lot about the engagement and the communication and putting context to what we're doing.
This year, the Mira Awards saw approximately 500 attendees. This is compared to around 200 to 300 attendees in previous years. Markets Today will take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Employment Insurance System, or EIS. Don't go away. The government has introduced the Employment Insurance System, or EIS, a compulsory retrenchment insurance for private sector employees. Starting January next year, 0.2% will be deducted from employees' monthly salaries, while another 0.2% will be contributed by their employers to pay for this insurance. Those earning more than 4,000 ringgit monthly will pay the ceiling amount of 7 ringgit 90 cents. Under this scheme, in the event that an employee is retrenched, he or she will still get a percentage of their salary for 6 months. However, employees will not be eligible for payment if they leave their companies through VSS or MSS, resign voluntarily, or are terminated due to misconduct. Right, to discuss EIS further, we have with us in the studio right now Abdul Halim Mansoor. He's the President of Malaysian Trades Union Congress, MTUC, and also Datuk Shamsuddin Bardan, Executive Director of Malaysian Employees Federation, MEF. Gentlemen, welcome to Markets Today.
Thank you very much.
Maybe I can start with Dato' Shamsuddin. Dato', on behalf of the employers, MEF, you have proposed the deletion of certain segments of the EIS Bill 2017, including the early re-employment allowance, training allowance, and job search allowance. You are proposing that all this be struck out. Why?
That is correct, because we feel that those kind of activities currently are being carried out by various government agencies that are actually not charged to the employers. Say, for example, when you talk about job matching and also trying to place the employees to employers that require employees, this is currently done by the Job Malaysia for free, and they are not charging employers or employees for any fees for the services. And also you're talking about retraining or training the retrenched employee. This is currently done very much by one MOC, One Malaysia Outplacement Center, which is being operated by HRDF. And there is no need for EIS to be actually involved in this activity. So this is basically one of the issues that actually we had raised. And basically when we discussed this matter with the 4 ministers being assigned by the cabinet to speak to the stakeholders, this principle of the EIS policy is being more or less like agreed upon to say that now the EIS coverage is only limited to employees that are not being paid any termination or retrenchment benefit by the employers. Meaning that if you are being paid your termination or retrenchment benefit by your employers, then you are not expected to be assisted by the EIS. Only if you are not being paid those benefits, then you can go to the EIS and be paid maximum of 3 months assistance by the EIS. That's why, based on that, the contribution rate had been reduced from 1% to basically 0.4%. It's 2%. 0.2% by the employers and 0.2% by the employees. So that is basically the kind of scheme that we are looking at based on the discussion with the ministers chaired by the Datuk Sri Johari, Finance Minister too. Basically.
Right, that's a very interesting point that you brought forth, which is that this scheme is only applicable to those retrenched by the companies and were not paid anything, basically employees who were left out in the cold. I would like to bring in Halim Mansor of MTUC of this. Based on recent retrenchment or downsizing exercises we've seen in the country, how many employees actually fit in this category? As it seems at the moment, correct me if I'm wrong, that most employees are paid some sort of compensation upon being released by the employers.
Thank you, Market, today. First of all, I'd just like to say that we have to understand that when we introduce and we struggle to fight this, it is more for protection. It's not a benefit. And whatever that we agreed upon, that to make sure that has any allowances or any quoting of training, that is something that have happened after they've been retrenched. They are not related to any company at all. So the thing is that at that moment, at that moment, the EIS will take over. And part of it, we have to know that since everybody is fit in, but as an employee, and I believe as an employer, my friend, we do not really talk about, this will be an easy type of scheme to retrench people. We are intend to protect the employment. But in case it is happen, then we have to be prepared, because what happened, what that we have struggled for is based on the history that have happened earlier ago. So this is where we, for example, if we take an example, the earlier as 2016, when a good employer such as Mega Steel and Pewaja Steel left, abandoned their workers, and they gone bust. Until today, they don't pay any benefit. Can you feel how workers that receive this sort of situation have to face their family, have to face everything? That it is something that unexpected in the workers' life itself. So this is the thing, the main part of where we say why we need the protection. Whatever it named, how do the benefits, but we have to understand whatever fund that we create, it will start very small to make sure that we can expand it and provide better benefit in future.
Right, I understand your point, Halim, but I think this ties back to what the point that I was making earlier, in that Pewaja Steel and Mega Steel are two examples, maybe of a bigger picture. They are just, some would say, remote cases whereby other companies who retrench or remove their employees actually pay some sort of compensation to those employees. But again, all private sector employers are required to contribute to this system and this scheme. Maybe Datuk Shamsuddin, your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Perhaps on this aspect, just to quote some figures, in the last 10 years, the amount of unpaid retention benefits is the average of 65 million ringgit. So let us look at the proposed scheme. At 0.2% from the employer and from the employee side, the fund seeks to collect something like more than 600 million a year. Yeah? So 600 million, you are expected to actually now to cover payments of up to 65 million ringgit per year. So of course there is still huge money left there, because I would beg to differ from my good friends Halim's statement to say that it's small collection, we start small. 660 million is not a small amount of money. And I would say that, of course, there is this kind of consensus that was reached during the discussion with Datuk Sri Johari to say that, yeah, we can look at the amount, and if the amount is sufficient enough, then possibly the committee that is to be formed within the EIS itself can advise the authorities to say, yeah, we had enough fund and we should stop or suspend the collection itself.
Halim, we have like 30 seconds left. Maybe you would like to reply.
So the thing is that once we talk about, we are talking about this protection on a risk pooling. It never means that, you know, when you pay, that you will be covered. You must understand in risk pooling, the same thing that if you buy a car insurance, you don't pay for the accident, but you have a protection to cover you in case anything happened to you. This is what, as a workers, mean to have this type of protection.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Abdul Halim Mansor, President of MTUC, and also Datuk Shamsuddin Bardan, Executive Director of MEF, Malaysian Employees Federation. Would love to discuss this more, but time and basis. That's it for this episode of Markets Today. Send us all your feedback on all our social media platforms. What do you think of the conversation? Drop us your comments. Maharis, thanks for watching the show. Have a nice day.